Hey everybody, welcome back to the Broken Slow channel. Obviously I'm doing stuff with tires tonight. Get these things mounted up for the JLU project, although I'm sure I won't have that done by the end of the video, but there's a couple of things that I thought other people might find interesting, so I figured I would, put this together and whatnot. The rims I picked out for this are from Trial. They are by far my favorite rim company for pretty much any RC project. These things are really nice. Brass rings to get some more weight down low, which it really needs. You get two different offset hubs in the packaging, so you can space them out a little bit if you want to. I'm not going to because I already have hexes that are brass wheel extenders that add some width to it already. So I'm going to leave that part alone. But these wheels don't have any venting really, so to speak of, to let the air out. And so when the tire goes to conform around a rock, it's not only backed up by the foam, but there's basically like an air bladder in there. And so I was going to vent the tires. I'm sure other people have different methods to doing this. The last set of tires I did, I tried a drill bit, which, these are tires for rock crawlers. They're typically soft, sticky, all those things that are desirable for that kind of activity. But when it comes to drilling them, it usually grabs the drill bit and starts to twist up the tire, which, you could end up damaging the tire, which isn't good. But the other problem is if you're persistent and you do get the drill bit through there, when you pull it back out, the rubber is basically self-healing and more or less closes off the vent hole. So, I figured I'd give that a shot, but this is the way that I like to do it. If you have another method, drop it down in the comments, but this has been working well for me. Doesn't have to be this, but I use a MAP gas torch and a pair of needle nose pliers and just a standard nail like you would, use to hang a picture on the wall or something like that. Get it nice and hot. Aim for the center of the tread. And you get a nice clean vent hole that doesn't self-close. And afterwards, I usually open it up right where the hole is and just wipe off a little bit of that rubber residue that was on there. And that is it. It is that fast and easy, and it makes a perfect vent hole every single time. Just get it nice and hot. Boom. Yeah. You can't just keep going and do a second one without reheating it, or the hole does close back up. But when it's fresh, it's perfect. I have a stainless steel plate off to the side here that you can't see on camera that I put the hot nail down on afterwards just to make things easy. But you should be able to see that on camera where the light shines through. Nice, perfect, round vent hole, and of course it's directly related to the size of the nail that you pick. But that's it. 4 tires vented, all set to go. They'll work perfect. And then, of course, the only problem you have after that is sometimes you still have to disassemble your bead locks, just because, you know, you're going to get water and dirt and things that come in through the vent hole. I'm certain I'm supposed to tell you that you want to do this in a well-ventilated area. I could probably be doing better at that. And I'm not recommending you do it at all. I'm just saying that this is the way that I do it. I did let these tires soak in Simple Green today. It's a dilution that's probably, I'm going to guess, you know, 40% concentrate, 60% water, something like that. It's mixed pretty strong. Let them soak for a couple hours inside of a Ziploc bag after spraying them down to, you know, soften up the rubber and make them nice and sticky. And I'm sure you can hear that. Those have a great texture, even though these are, you know, a tire that's been run before. They're several years old at this point, but they're nice and soft and sticky and ready to go. I'm just putting basic foams on the inside of these things for now. I'm going to try running them that way and see how that works, just because I'm already dumping a whole bunch of weight down low with the brass rings that these have. And so silicone, while it has a lot of very desirable qualities to it, like, you know, the fact that if you drive through water you don't have to worry about things too much, also adds even more weight to the wheel. And so I'm not 100% sure that that's what I want to do. And like I said, they're bead locks, and so if these get waterlogged or whatever, I can just pull them apart later. But that feels like it's going to be pretty good. These are the Mickey Thompson Baja Pro X tires. Those things look great. One of the other things that I wanted to mention, I don't know if anybody's tried it except for me. I had seen a video on somebody else's channel. I watch YouTube a fair amount. I'm always looking for fun little like tips and tricks and ways to save money and that kind of thing, as I'm sure a lot of us are. And one of the things that I came across was, you know, videos on how to remove tires that have been glued onto the rim. And I'm like, well, that would be great, because I've got a set of tires that I actually kind of like. They're the ones that came with my Red Cat Ascent 18, but they're plastic rims. They don't offer a lot of weight, and, you know, ultimately, if I could get the tires off, I would probably run those on something else. You know, maybe get another set of bead locks and throw them on the S10. Or the C10 rather. And so one of the methods that I came across was, you know, somebody who was boiling their tires that were glued onto the rims in a pot. And basically it was, you know, get the water boiling, and depending on the tire and the glue and whatever, you usually have to leave them in there for like 2 to 3 minutes. And after that, the glue should be loosened up and you should be able to pop them right off the rim. So I got the 4 wheels from my Apex, or my Ascent rather, and I threw them in the pot once the water started boiling, and I set the timer, and after 2 minutes I flipped them over and I did 2 minutes on the other side. You know, you can see, I mean, that's a decent looking tire, and it's got pretty good grip to it, nice sidewall flex, that kind of thing. I would definitely try running these on something else. And so after, you know, 2 minutes each side, I shut the pot off. I pulled one out with the tongs, left the other 3 soaking in there so they wouldn't cool down while I was getting the tire off the first one. And I kept pulling on the bead, and I had no success getting it to break loose. You could see the rubber was stretching. It felt like the tire got softer. but nothing where the glue let go and I was able to get the tire off the rim. And so I figured this must be the 3-minute variety. And so I turned the pot back on and I threw the one tire back into the pot with the other 3, and I set the timer again, and I did another minute per side, and I still wasn't having any success. And so at that point, I figured, well, maybe I'm just not pulling hard enough to get it, broken loose in one spot where you can start working it around like I had seen. And when I started pulling a little bit harder, the sidewall split and left the bead still attached to the rim. The glue seemed to be totally unfazed, which was kind of a disappointment. And so this side here was significantly worse. I threw a bunch of glue on there, which actually seems to be holding things together. Every now and again, I probably have a use for something that's a little beat up like that, where I'll throw these on for a minute. And I mean, the glue, like I said, it seems to be working. I'm sure it's going to flex a little bit differently than tires that don't have the sidewall held together with crazy glue. But ultimately, I didn't want to be defeated. The concept seemed pretty good. And so I have this tire, which is another one from that same set. And I went, well, there's no metal on there of any kind that would have any kind of problems with going in the microwave. Why not? And I had the exact same result. I tried, 10 seconds, wasn't even really warm. 20 seconds, things were starting to warm up. And again, the rubber was starting to get soft at that point. Put it in for a little while longer, started pulling a little bit more, and same as the last time, the sidewall split. And so there's every possibility that, I missed something important in this process, and that I did something that caused this problem. But I guess there's also the possibility that Red Cat uses some superior variety of glue that doesn't respond to being heated up in the same way that, the glue does on the videos that I had seen when I started deciding to try some of this on my own. I mean, it certainly seemed to be effective for them. So if you have a method that works to get tires off a rim that have been glued on, I'm already aware of the soaking them in acetone for certain rims that's acceptable. Not all of the plastics these are made of really tolerate that very well. Not that the rim is what I'm trying to salvage, but obviously I've tried heat with less success than I might like. If there's a method you have that works and you think is worth trying out, let me know. I've still got 2 more tires out of that same set that at this point where it's no longer a matching set of 4, I'd be happy to try just about any experiment to get those off of there. Not that, like I said, I have a lot that I'm going to do with 2 tires in good condition, but there's always a possibility they'll be useful at some point, and certainly the knowledge to get them separated from the wheel without damaging the tire would be useful, because there's other wheels I have that, I'd like to get a tire off, where you don't have to just buy a new set of rims and tires every single time. Certainly for something like my drag car that burns up tires like crazy. That would be great not to have the added expense of buying a new set of rims. I mean, I could just invest in beadlocks for that as well. They make them in plastic, so you're not spinning a ton of weight at crazy speed. But if there was a way to unglue them, I would be very interested. All right. I guess that's all for now. You guys have a good night. We'll see you next time.